guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go through all of the new palettes that I recently have acquired. I usually do go through my last 10 palettes, but I actually have 12 here today because I've just bought too much. But the last time I did this video was back in May, so it's been some time. It's not like it's like a month later, so I'm not going absolutely wild, but this year I definitely have allowed myself to buy makeup as opposed to be on a low buy, and I think I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I don't feel too bad about everything that I've brought into my collection yet. But anyway, we're gonna rank all of these palettes that I have accumulated since May. And yeah, there's 12 of them, which does sound quite a lot actually when you think about it. But anyway, let's get started. I did already film this video yesterday, but then I forgot 2 palettes. So I was like, oh crap, I need to film the whole thing again. And actually my order has changed for most of these as well. I'm finding it really hard to rank the ones at the bottom, which actually technically are the ones at the top, but I'm going from least to best, you know what I mean? So the ones at the top are all very, very beautiful. Like actually there's really only a few, I would say a couple that I'm disappointed with, and then the rest I do think are really stunning, and I just haven't had enough time with it. So it's kind of unfair to rank these at this point, but I'm doing it. We are here. So the first one is this one. Actually, this is from Romand. This is one of the K-beauty brands that I tried, I think back in June. I did a haul and I did like a full face of makeup, and I got this particular one from Stylevana. And the problem I think with Stylevana is if you're trying to do like a full face of makeup, they don't have a lot of eyeshadow or eyeshadow palettes. And the ones that they do have are very expensive. So I did end up going with this one, which is just a neutral color story. And I thought I can't go wrong with a neutral color story. However, when I bought it, I didn't realize that 2 of these are glitters. One is more of the little like fine little chunky gritty glitters that you would get in like a Makeup Revolution palette. And then this one I think would equate more to the old school ColourPop glitter shades that you would get in the palettes, which I didn't always mind, but it's not what I wanted when I bought this palette. And so there's really only the 2 shimmers, and they're a bit lackluster. I think the mattes are fine, but they're not super dark. So unless you have paler skin, I just don't think it's going to work for you. So like there's a lot of negatives about this palette. And to be fair, I think I've only gone into it twice. And both times I was like, it's just not very much fun. And the fact that I spent over 20 euros on this palette, I honestly feel like I would be comfortable buying this for 8 euros. Like that's as bad as I feel like it is in terms of the formula and what you can compare. If you buy like a palette that's 20 something in a drugstore, I feel like it is a little bit better than this. So I'm just going to put it out there. I think some Makeup Revolution palettes are better than this, which is pretty bad for me to say, but I was really not impressed with this palette. And I don't know if it's just because I'm more into my indie brands or anything like that, but I don't know, it was very disappointing. So it's fine. It's in my collection now, so I will use it. I'm not going to get rid of it anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if in a year I will declutter that at some point if I feel the need to declutter. Okay, the next one I was also quite disappointed in. This is from GlossGods. It's part of their Let's Pop collection, which they released this year. I think they released 4 or 5 of these, all different color variations, and I only got this one, which is the Peach Pop, because I love peaches, or like not the actual fruit. I mean, the fruit is nice and fine, but I do like the tones, the peach tones. And specifically, I wanted to try this one. And this is actually a really gorgeous shade. And the shimmers in here are the shimmer quality that you would expect from GlossGods. But I was very disappointed in these 2 mattes down here. And I feel like their mattes have always been a little bit hit and miss. And sometimes I do have a fair amount of palettes now from them, and there's some palettes where the mattes are fine and some where they're a little bit iffy, but I've never had issues with the shimmer quality. And it's the same with this palette. I think it's gorgeous, but you only get 2 shimmers in here. This matte is great. It's really vibrant, but these 2, I felt that they weren't performing the way that I wanted to. They were quite patchy and they basically disappeared on my lids when I used them. So I was very, very disappointed in these 2. And because I bought obviously a palette with just 5 shades, 2 out of the 5 I'm not very pleased with. So it's not a good ratio. And I think if you were to just try GlossGods on these types of palettes, I obviously haven't tried the other color variations, but if you were just to judge them on these, I wouldn't, because they're probably not their best work. I think their slightly bigger palettes are probably the ones where you should really invest in if you are going to try GlossGods, specifically ones where they have majority of shimmer, because I think that's where they shine. So anyway, yeah, was number 11. This is, yeah, I wasn't very pleased with that palette, I have to say. Okay, let me just say, disclaimer, the rest of these I love. And I'm at this point just nitpicking. And it also is because, you know, it's not spring, summer, so some more spring, summer palettes that I have right here in front of me. I'm ranking lower now because it's not the type of palette or color story that I want to dip into right now. But I think in 5-6 months time, I will absolutely devour them. So yeah, those 2 out of the way, the next 10 palettes I actually really love. So I've been buying good, decent palettes, which I'm very excited about. So this next one is actually from Gourmand Girls, and you're going to be shocked. Like, the formula of this is absolutely stunning. This is the Peach Perfect, but this is more to do with the actual color story and the season that I'm in. Now, I told you I love peaches, and this has got some gorgeous greens in it too, but it's just not the right time of year for me to be devouring this palette as much as I really want to. I obviously did try it, and I really like the look that I created. And the quality was really stunning. I just kept going into different shades, and I was very pleased with the mattes and the shimmer. And I think it's beautiful, beautiful. But I have to say, I have no desire to go into this palette at all anytime soon. And I think it's, for me, just going to be a spring, summer palette. Maybe just mostly spring palette, because I do dip into greens quite a lot in the spring. I do think, like, you know, the grass is growing back, the leaves are coming back, and like green kind of tends to be what I dip into the most. So I'm very excited that I have this, and I will go back into it. But for the purpose of this video, I'm ranking it pretty low, and I do feel pretty bad about that, but I don't feel comfortable bumping it ahead of everything else I have in front of me. So yeah, this next one I'm ranking a little bit higher than that, which is my Makeup Factory little 9-pan. Very small, travel size, very boring color story, but honestly, it's the perfect little palette. And the formula definitely reminds me of ABH. Maybe not as powdery, there's not as much kick up with the mattes or anything like that, but I think the actual shimmer quality is nice and thick like ABH can be. And it's just good. It's a good formula, and I bought this just at the mall, in store, randomly. I did swatch it. They had a bunch of monochromatic palettes like this, and this is the only one that I got. This is the gold selection one, but they had like a green one, a blue one, pinky purple one, and I think another neutral tone one, but this is the one obviously that called out to me. So I think this is stunning. As boring as it is, I was pleasantly surprised and pleased by it when I did end up using it on my eyes. And yeah, I think as a palette just in my collection, it stands the time. Like, for now, it's holding itself up high amongst all of the indie brands that I have that are really shining through. Okay, next up, this is more about color story, not at all about formula, because I was blown away by the formula of all of these palettes. But I did pick up the Avatar collection, so I got all 4 of the palettes from Lethal Cosmetics. First time trying Lethal, and it's the first time I tried it because I had heard so many mixed reviews about their quality and their formula. But like I said, all 4 of these palettes, I think the quality is amazing, and I have heard that this is like some of their best work in terms of formula if you compare it to previous palettes of theirs. So that's what I've heard, but I don't know for sure. So I guess I got lucky that I tried them at a time when they are doing really well with the formula. So anyway, this is the water one, so it's a blue one, and it's really just because I don't go into a lot of blues. I've been dipping into blues a little bit more now because we are more in the colder season, and it's just a little bit more fun. But basically throughout the year, I barely go into blues unless I have to, unless it's rolled into a project, or I'm suddenly in the mood to do a pop of blue. It's just not my go-to. So as much as I think this is beautiful and gorgeous, and you know, you could do a neutral look because you've got brown, and you've got these two shades. So you could just avoid the blue entirely. I actually have this one in my pan nose eyeshadow, so I'm not avoiding it because I am trying it to hit pan in it. It's just a lot of fun, but compared to the other color stories that I have in front of me, I had to rank it here, as sad as I am to do that, because these are gorgeous quality. I actually really, really like it. I can't stop talking about how much fun I've had with the quality. Okay, next up, this is going to be a surprise because this was actually voted my top palette for October. So every month I do vote and rank all of the palettes that I used in the previous month. And this was number 1, but I do have an explanation. So the Color of Rain from GlossGods, like I said, it was my favorite palette that I used in October. But at the time that I was voting, I was doing a 3 looks 1 palette with this, and I had done my 2 looks, but not my 3rd look. And the first 2 looks, I found a lot of inspiration. I was really vibing with it. I was having a lot of fun. And then I did my 3rd look this month, and I really kind of struggled with what to do. And I was getting a little frustrated, and it just might be just me. So I think ultimately this palette is not as versatile as I was really hoping it would be. Yes, it's a blue palette. It has tons of purple though. Like everything is flipping purple in this palette. So unless you want a blue or purple look on your eyes, you are not going to be happy with this. So when you look at this, you can see some turquoise shades, some more like greeny tone shades a little bit. So for my 3rd look, I really wanted to go into more of the greens. And it just didn't work out because they're actually not green. So that's kind of what I figured out. It's just mostly blues and purples. You have some pinks, and they're very, very stunning and beautiful. But on a day when I wasn't feeling like having a blue purple look, I end up with a blue purple look. So I think I just like palettes with a lot of variety, and as much as this is gorgeous and I love the formula of GlossGods and I love their all shimmer palettes, I know people don't like them because they like the mattes, but you can get mattes in other palettes. Like you can just use these as a companion palette. I think it's worth it. Yeah, I just think ultimately it didn't have as much variety as I was really, really hoping it would, and as I expected it would at the time that I voted it as my top palette for October. Anyway, explanation over. So I'm ranking it here, which is pretty low, but it's just really like color story wise, again, not so much my displeasure of any of the formula or anything like that, because I've had a really fun time with this palette. Okay, moving on. I actually voted this as my top palette for September. So this is obviously part of the Avatar collection. This is the Fire one, and I really, really loved this when I tried all 4 of them in September. I voted this as my top 1. I just had a lot of fun, but I think ultimately I have gone into it again, and it's a taste thing. So not like an actual taste thing, but my tastes have changed, okay? So I'm really into cool tones, not so much today because I have to wear some tones because I'm trying to get through some shades in my Project Level Up. But anyway, I was kind of going through a few weeks of loving warm tones, and then the last month I really, really loved just cool tones. And so I did go into this, I think last week, and I was just not really vibing with it. I didn't really enjoy how it was looking. And I think it's just because I don't want to dip into warm tones right now. So that's all it is. And so that's why I'm ranking it lower. The formula is really beautiful in here. And as opposed to the other lethal palettes that I'm going to be talking about, actually no, maybe the green one as well. But this one is very cohesive. You could use every single shade in one look, and it's just a lot of fun, and the formula is so beautiful. I think I dipped into every single shade in this palette now, and the colors are very, very, very rich. Like I love that about it. So I had a lot of fun with this. And like I said, I love all of these, so ranking them has been pretty difficult. The next one I've got is this one, which is the Earth palette from Lethal. Same collection, obviously. So this one I haven't gone into again, but I really, really want to. And I think I'm going to leave it out so I can go into it in the next week or so. Because when I did go into it back in September now, which is crazy, it was so long ago, I could see so many other different looks that I really wanted to try out. And I haven't been able to do that yet. I just haven't had the chance to. So I really find there's a lot of variety in this one. It's not just a green palette. When you look at it, you're like, this is just a green palette. But it's not, because this is like very pink, and you could do like a neutral pink flip look, and it has nothing to do with green, and that pleases me. I also have not dipped into this shade at all, and I think it looks a lot of fun. So I want to play with this a little bit more, and this was the one that I really wanted from the whole collection before I decided to buy the whole collection. This is the one that I was like, I have to buy that one. So I think ultimately, like color story wise, this is my favorite just by looking at it, but I haven't played with it enough. So it's still ranked pretty low actually. Actually not so low. So that's number 5. So then we have 4 left. So these were very difficult and I honestly don't even know if I've done it correctly. But we're just going to go with what I'm feeling today. So the next one is the Illuminating's Rich Romantic palette. This is one where I really want to go into again. I have pulled it from my Shop My Stash, so I will be going into it more this month. And I was really hoping to dip into it again before I had to rank it because I don't really know if it belongs in this slot because I've only just done the one look, but I really was impressed with it. I wasn't paying too much attention to the look though because I was talking in a Get Ready With Me about other stuff, but I was very, very pleased with how this turned out. And I've only dipped into like a third of the palette, so there's so many shades in here that I really want to dip into. It's really beautiful though. It's so beautiful and I really like the formula. I was quite impressed with it. So I'm ranking it here. It might not deserve to be here, but it's here nonetheless. So that's where that is. I still don't know if these last 3 should belong here. I just like them all for different reasons and I can't figure out which one I prefer the most. So we're just gonna go with it, but I honestly feel like this is wrong, but I don't know what would be right, okay? So anyway, the next one is this one. This is the last Avatar palette, and this one is the Air. So when I first got the collection, this was my least favorite. Even after doing a look with this one, I was like, oh, this is just like so cool tone and icy. All the shades look very icy on my lids, nothing, there's no like difference or anything. And I was not impressed with this palette at all. But I rolled one of the shades in my pan, those eyeshadows, and so I ended up going into the palette quite a bit more than the other 3 palettes that I have, and I ended up really, really liking this palette, and I have spoken about that. So this is what it's looking like, and you can see I actually hit pan in the one that I had rolled into my pan as eyeshadows. I actually rolled it out of my pan as eyeshadows because I used it 20 times, did not hit pan. So this is a bit of a spoiler because on the 21st use, I hit pan. So that was kind of annoying because it would have been fun to show this in my last Pan Those Eyeshadows video, but no, of course not. I did it outside of the project, but I love this and I couldn't understand why I was seeing other people saying that they loved this palette too, because I saw other people review this collection and a lot of people saying that they really liked the Air one, and I was like, but look at that color story, look at that red and that like mustard, like they don't belong in the blue, like what is it, what is going on with this palette? But it actually is so stunning. I will say, I have to admit, I have not gone into the red, right? So I think all of these are beautiful and all of these are beautiful. The blue is fine too, but it's really just like these ones. Absolutely gorgeous. This one is so special. This one is so special. And the formula is amazing, just like on the other palettes. And I've had so much fun with this palette. And it's one where you look at it, you're like, you're not sure what to do, but you actually end up having a lot of fun. And that's just the type of palette that I like. I like a palette that surprises me, and I like a palette that has a versatility, and I'm not entirely sure what it's going to happen, but I'm also having fun and being a little creative about it. So I feel quite creative going into this palette. Having said that, still haven't gotten into the red, but I can see what I can do with the red. I just haven't done it yet. So this one, very much enjoyed. And number 3, but honestly, I could rank this as number 1. I really could, but then I don't know how I could justify that after saying I really didn't like it, but I really do like it now. Okay, this next one, I have a funny feeling that I'm ranking this higher than it should be, but I do have the Ensley Rainflower Moon. Now, I think the formula is stunning in this palette. I really do. There is something niggling in the back of my head, and I don't know what it is, but I don't love this palette, but I am ranking it high because all of the shades that I have tried in this palette, I've done a 3 looks one palette video on this, and I haven't had any issues. I think it's absolutely stunning. The color story is fun. It might be the color story because for me, the color story is just a little too spring. I think this will be perfect for March time for me. Like this looks like February, March, right at the beginning when winter's not disappearing in February. Let's say March. Winter is hopefully leaving us. Spring is on its way. And I honestly think this is what it is. This just looks like you're in the woods, spring is breaking, and it's still raining quite a bit, but it's getting a little warmer, things are growing again, there's mushrooms. I don't know, it's just, for me, it might be the wrong time of year to be dipping into this palette as much as I have done. I'm ranking it obviously number 2 because I can appreciate that the formula is stunning and really, really beautiful, and I'm so happy that I've tried Ensley Rain. However, it also, I don't know if it should belong here or if something else should go here. There's just something in the back of my head where I'm like, am I just doing this because it's Ensley Rain and everybody loves Ensley Rain, so I should love Ensley Rain? I don't not like this palette, but I also don't like love it as much as I feel like I should love it. So I don't know what that means. I also feel like the formula is like GlossGods or better. So like, why don't I love this? I don't know. I mean, I think the mattes are beautiful. Like I have no issues with the mattes. Whereas with GlossGods, you have a little bit of issues with it sometimes. I think the formula is beautiful and similar to GlossGods, but also some of them are not. Some of them are very metallic and like really like punchy. So I don't know. It's just, there's something about it. I think it's the color story. I love the palette. I do, but I don't love the palette as much as I feel like I should. What does that mean? Do people know what I'm talking about? Okay, this next one was a surprise to me, and I don't know why I'm ranking it so high, but I really, really enjoyed it. It is this one from ColourPop. I don't know why I'm ranking ColourPop ahead of all of these indie palettes. I don't know. This is the Haunted Mansion. I really like this palette. And again, it might just be the color story. I'm into my cool tones at the moment and I'm ranking it super high. I just think this is such a beautiful color story. When you actually like, forget about the brands, so don't care about Haunted Mansion or any of the IP stuff, but I think this is so much fun. It's cool tone. I think you can wear this a lot throughout the year if you're really into cool tones all year long, or this is just a really great winter palette. But I really enjoy looking at this and playing with it too. I played with it a few times now and I really, really have loved it. And I think the formula is beautiful. And I think for people who have tried ColourPop quite a lot, we know when we try a bad formula versus a good formula from ColourPop. And I think the last time I tried ColourPop, I was just so burned and I just wasn't enjoying what I was putting on my eyes. I wasn't enjoying the formula, the quality. I just felt like, this is just no good. Whereas with this one, I really just enjoyed it, and it's not indie quality, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So I'm ranking this one as my favorite, which is kind of crazy because I don't know. I really didn't expect to like this as much as I did. And again, I don't care about Haunted Mansion, but I bought this because I love the color story when it released. I was like, I gotta have that for some reason. I haven't bought from ColourPop in over a year, but I'm gonna buy this collection that's like a year old because that looks beautiful. So that is it. That is my little ranking for my last 12 palettes that I have brought into my collection recently. What I'm going to do in December at some point is do a ranking of all of the new palettes that I have brought into my collection this year, just to see where everything aligns. And it'll be interesting to see if in a month my tastes have changed on any of these, because I might rank this lower. I don't know. Or it might still be number 1. I don't know. I'd have to like really look at everything else I bought, because I've got like cosmic brushes that I would have to go up against, some more GlossGods that I would have to go up against. Would it be GlossGods? I don't know. But yeah, I think that would be a tricky ranking for sure, because those cosmic brushes that I have are beautiful. And then I have the WhatsUp Beauty palettes as well. Yeah, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could. Actually, did I buy those this year or was it last year? I don't remember. I'd have to look. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.